They say love is a masterpiece, with each brushstroke capturing a memory and each color a shared moment. For a time, I believed that my wife, LLA, was my muse, my partner, my everything. She inspired me to create art that filled galleries, leaving viewers captivated by the emotion that poured from my canvases. But as I stood in my studio one evening, glass of whiskey trembling in my hand, I realized the colors of our love had faded into ash. I had discovered the affair 2 weeks earlier. It wasn't a coincidence. Suspicion had slowly crept into my mind, wrapping itself around me like ivy around a tree, suffocating the truth. Finally, I gave in to the persistent whispers. LLA had been coming home late, always carrying the faint scent of musk and cigars. She claimed it was just late rehearsals for a role in some avant-garde play she was preparing for. But I had always been an observer, a collector of details, and details never lie. One small mistake was all it took, a text message she'd forgotten to erase. Can't wait to see you again. It didn't take long to piece together who the you was. Nathan Kessler, her acting coach. A man 10 years her senior, with a penchant for cheap cologne and pretentious monologues about the purity of art. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I let my rage simmer, letting it seep into every part of my mind like poison ink in water. Confrontation was too simple. LLA had betrayed me, and Nathan had stolen something sacred from me. They didn't deserve an argument. They deserved a work of art, a masterpiece of retribution. The plan came to me one night as I stared at a blank canvas in my studio. If their betrayal was going to ruin me, then I would immortalize it and them forever. The first step was subtle. One morning, I approached LLA over breakfast with a smile plastered on my face. I've been thinking about doing a new series, I said, pouring her coffee. Something bold, something intimate. She looked up from her phone, her perfectly manicured fingers pausing mid-scroll. Like what? Portraits, she asked. I let the word linger. I want to capture the people who matter most to me. You first. Her smile faltered for a moment, a slight shift that would have gone unnoticed by most. But I saw it. I always saw it. That sounds wonderful, she said, her voice betraying a hint of hesitation. And I want Nathan to be part of it, I added. He's had such a big influence on your career. It would be perfect to include him. Her fork clattered against her plate. Nathan? Why not? I countered, taking a sip of coffee to mask the smirk creeping onto my lips. He's an important part of your life. I want to honor that. She nodded slowly, but I could see the unease growing in her eyes. The seed had been planted. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. I rented an extravagant venue for the unveiling, sending invitations to critics, collectors, and influencers who had followed my work for years. This wasn't going to be just another show. This would be the event of the season. Meanwhile, I worked tirelessly in my studio, pouring every ounce of my skill into the centerpiece of the exhibition, the portrait of LLA and Nathan. The sessions were torturous. I had to endure Nathan's smug demeanor as he posed, draping himself in feigned nonchalance. LLA, for her part, seemed caught between guilt and arrogance. Her smiles never quite reached her eyes, but I played my role flawlessly. I was a devoted husband, the passionate artist. I showered them with compliments, ensuring they felt at ease, unaware that they were walking straight into my trap. But the portrait wasn't the only thing I was working on behind the scenes. I carefully orchestrated every detail for the unveiling night. Lighting, music, even the precise placement of the wine glasses. Every aspect was designed to evoke an atmosphere of wonder and intimacy. Yet, beneath the polished veneer, a darker reality simmered, waiting to explode. One evening, during an especially long session, Nathan grew bolder. "You've really outdone yourself, Ethan," he said, leaning back in his chair. "This portrait is going to be legendary." I nodded, my brush gliding over the canvas with careful precision. "It's all about capturing the essence of my subjects," I replied, my voice unwavering. the truth beneath the surface. Nathan laughed, completely oblivious to the hidden meaning. LLA shifted uncomfortably in her seat, her eyes flickering toward the door. Her restlessness grew, guilt manifesting in small, nervous gestures. Watching her unravel bit by bit was almost endearing. The night before the unveiling, I arranged a private dinner for just LLA and me. I wanted her to savor the irony of her ignorance, basking in it over candlelight and red wine. As I recounted the story of how we first met, painting a picture of love and devotion, she smiled, but her eyes betrayed her. She was a woman living on borrowed time, and deep down, she knew it. The gallery buzzed with anticipation. The walls were adorned with portraits of other subjects, each beautiful, each poignant. But the centerpiece was hidden behind a velvet curtain, a grand reveal set to be the climax of the evening. LLA stood by my side, radiant in a crimson dress that hugged her curves. Nathan lingered nearby, nursing a glass of wine and soaking up the admiration of strangers. They looked so confident, so secure in their lies. It only made what was to come next that much sweeter. When the time arrived, I stepped onto the small stage, the spotlight warming my skin. "Thank you all for being here tonight," I began, my voice steady. Art, to me, has always been about truth, about capturing the essence of a moment, a feeling, a connection. In this piece, I gestured toward the curtain behind me. This piece is the most honest work I've ever created. I pulled the cord and the curtain dropped. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The portrait was a masterpiece. LLA and Nathan were captured in exquisite detail, their bodies entwined in a sensual embrace. But it wasn't just a portrayal of passion. The background was filled with subtle clues, a text message faintly painted into the wallpaper, a wine glass overturned on a bedside table, a wedding ring discarded on the floor. Every detail told a story of betrayal. LLA's face drained of color as the realization hit her. Nathan's smirk faltered, quickly replaced by a look of dawning horror. The room erupted into murmurs, then whispers, as cameras flashed, capturing the scandal unfolding before them. I call this piece, I paused, letting the tension build. Infidelity. The final blow came when a projector flickered to life, displaying video footage I had secretly recorded of LLA and Nathan caught in the act. Their voices echoed through the gallery, and the crowd shocked turned to outrage. Their eyes shifted between the exposed lovers and the portrait, and I stood back, watching their world crumble. LLA fled the gallery, tears streaming down her face, Nathan hot on her heels. The press would have a field day with this. Their reputations and careers were finished. As the gallery buzzed with disbelief and fascination, I raised my glass in a silent toast. They wanted passion, attention, and drama. I had given it to them in a way they would never forget. And for me, I was free. Free to create. Free to live. Free from the lies that had tainted my masterpiece. The colors of my life were vivid once more, painted with the bold strokes of vengeance.